Well, good morning, folks. My name is Larry Cedar, and I'm back for another session on Sqanning, Sqanning, which is the simple relaxation technique I developed for bringing on a sense of calm and relaxation throughout the body and mind. The technique is easy to use, only takes a minute to learn, and can be practiced as frequently or as infrequently as you like. So I'm going to wait for a few people to show up into the session, and as I do, I'll talk a little bit more about the technique. I developed the technique over the last many years just through exploring various means of relaxation and centering. As an actor, I find it useful for my work, and in my life, I find it useful for creating a sense of balance. And particularly now, at these very tense times, I find it all the more useful and necessary. So I'm glad you're here to share this practice with me, and I will say this before I get into a description of the technique for those of you who've never seen it before. Probably the hardest, the most challenging aspect to the technique is starting. I've been doing this for many years, for many hours, and still to this day, when I sit down to practice this technique I call scanning, I'm resistant to it. Because what this technique requires is a letting go. It requires you let go of whatever it is you've been doing, that you let go of all the muscular tension you've been holding on to, that you let go of your sense of control over time and space, and that you give into a release of sorts that allows you to enter this deep state of relaxation. So if you feel resistant when you start, I share that feeling with you. It doesn't seem to change. I'm always resistant to it, and it's the body's natural instinct to protect itself by holding on to tension, holding on to thoughts, ideas, practices, things you're doing, whatever it is you felt you needed to do. When you scan, and again, it's Sqanning, you are asking yourself to let go of those things, and so that you are at a complete state of relaxation and emptiness and stillness and calm and quiet, which can be a little daunting, oddly enough, even though ultimately it feels good. So only thing I want to say is before we get started, I do save these sessions and repost them on Facebook. I leave them up for a day before I move on to the next session. So if you come late to the session or you miss it, you're welcome to visit me on my page at Larry Cedar at Facebook to watch it there. And then after I delete them off of that, I move them to the actual Sqanning Facebook page I have. So there's a Facebook page titled Sqanning, where I post all of these sessions, in addition to a YouTube station where I'm posting them all there. So if you can't come to these live streams, I welcome you. I invite you to visit those pages, Sqanning on YouTube and Facebook, to just reference the videos there. So I see we have a few people, so let's just get started. As I said, starting is the hardest part. It's just a shift in mindset, and that is basically all about letting go. And the way I do this technique, the simple function of this technique is to simply clasp your hands together and gently squeeze, and pay attention to the sensation of contracting your muscles, because that's pretty much the state you're in when you're tense or very involved in your day. You're contracted. And what we want to do is build a awareness of the opposite of contraction, which is expansion, letting go, releasing of tension, opening up to the moment, letting go of whatever you're involved in, be it a video game or watching TV or writing or deleting or emails on your computer, a letting go. So we're trying to build an awareness of contraction as compared to expansion. Contraction, expansion. And the practice of scanning is more than anything a building of awareness and deeper understanding of yourself. So we use the hands as a metaphor for our entire state of being, our body, our mind. We are either contracted or expanded. And what we're trying to do in this next 20 minutes to half hour is expand. We've built a lot of contraction into our day and into our system, and now we're going to build an awareness of and move deeper into expansion. So clasp the hands together just enough to feel that contraction, experience what that feels like, and on my count I'm going to ask you to completely release that grip and not only see how that feels, register how that feels in your hands, but register how that feels as that release radiates through the rest of your body. This is the guide, and let it guide a release sensation through the rest of your body. So here we go. Gently grasping, feel that clasp. 3, 2, 1, release. It's like you've pulled back a bow in the arrow, that's the grip, and you let go. That's the release. And then feel that arrow fly. And that arrow is the sense of release that passes through your body. So let's try it again. Grip the hands. Experience that sensation, what it feels like to contract. And on my count, you're going to completely release and allow that sense of release to pass through the rest of your body. 3, 2, 1, release. Now you see I just took a breath there. And the breath is what you'll probably feel. It's a natural response to your body beginning to relax. As your body gets the message that it's time to relax, and you're telling your body that not just through the decision in your mind, but through this symbolic or metaphoric release of tension, when your body senses it's time to relax, it also senses that it's safe to breathe. Because when we're tense, we hold our breath. When we're relaxed, we take a breath. So if you feel that impulse to take a breath, that's really important that you follow that impulse. And I like to say that breaths are free. So as frequently as you feel that desire to breathe, I recommend you take that deep breath and exhale deeply. So after the release, you will feel an impulse to breathe and take it. So let's do it again. Clasping the hands together, paying attention to what it feels like to contract the muscles. On my count, you're going to completely release. 3, 2, 1, release. And really register what that feels like. The difference between what it felt like to be clenched or contracted and open and released. Register that, study that. We're trying to build a deeper consciousness of that sensation because that's the direction into which we want to move. And the secondary title for scanning is incremental release. Scanning is the practice of the incremental release of muscular tension. Incremental meaning small and progressive. Taking small steps towards an ultimate and total release of tension. We're moving in the direction, but you should never feel a pressure to do anything more than just incrementally release tension. Because even if we travel by inches, we will get to the destination eventually. And the body responds far better to a gentle nudging than to being forced. So if I screamed at you, relax, you would probably tense up. But if I said, relax, just a little bit. Ready? Relax. Your body responds to that. It doesn't feel as threatening. So incremental release of muscular tension, and that's what this process is. Very simple. Let's do it again. Clasping the hands together, really experiencing what it feels like to contract your muscles, to contract your body. This is a metaphor for your entire being. On the count of 3, you're going to completely relax and let go of all tension and allow that sense of release to pass through your body. 3, 2, 1, release. Follow the impulse to take a deep breath. Which leads me to step 3 of this process. Step 1 being the clench and release. Step 2 being the deep oxygenating breath, followed by a complete release of tension. And step 3, stillness. And in that stillness, that's your opportunity to do absolutely nothing but observe. Pay very close attention to what you're experiencing in your body, particularly to the beating of your heart, which is the power center of your body. Your heart beats all day, but you don't necessarily pay attention to it. But it's, as I said, the power source. And as you start to relax, you'll feel your heart beating more freely. And as a result of that, the blood pumping more freely. And you may even begin to feel a slight throbbing in your limbs and your ears and your face as the blood vessels open up throughout your body and your whole system operates more freely. So that's it. You've now learned this process I call scanning. 3 steps. grip to feel the contraction, and release to feel the release. Let that flow through your body. That's step 1. Step 2, give into the impulse to take a deep breath and release even more tension from your body. And step 3, just sit in silence and stillness and pay attention to what's going on as you move closer and closer to a deep state of relaxation. Note the changes. Note the differences you're experiencing now as compared to how you felt when you started a few minutes ago. That's step 3. And you're done. Now, if all you had was 5 minutes in your day to do just that, you're done. You've made a major change in your system because you've reminded yourself that life isn't all just forward moving, contractions, efforting. Life is also release, relaxation, and being. And scanning takes you back to a neutral place where you're just feeling the sensation of just being. So, let's do it again. All these sessions is basically a repetition of that cycle with a little discussion about how you should think possibly of this. Here we go. Clasping the hands together. 3, 2, 1. Release. Let that sensation of release pass through your body. Really pay attention to where you are now releasing tension. Now it's extended into your legs and into your arms. When you feel the impulse to breathe, take a deep breath. Exhale. And then sit in complete stillness and silence and study what's going on in your body. Again, this process of scanning is as much training yourself to have a heightened awareness of your own being as anything else. Again, whenever you feel the impulse to take a breath, take it. James says, thank you, I needed this. Great, we all do. I'm glad to be of help. Yes, I think we all need to relax a little bit. Now, when we talk about taking the breath based on the impulse, just think of it as having dived to the deep end of a pool, and you're down there picking up whatever pennies or things you dropped just for fun to collect them at the bottom of the pool, and you're down there enjoying the experience, and then you start to get a message from your body, okay, that's enough, we're running out of oxygen, I need you to take a breath. It's the same feeling. When you feel the body tell you, take a breath, your body's saying, this is what I need. And we've ignored that feeling through much of the day because we get so wrapped up in whatever processes we're involved in, we literally forget to breathe. Of course, you do breathe somewhat, but you perhaps don't breathe as deeply as your body really needs. So when you begin to relax, your body says, is it safe now? Can I replenish? Can I catch up? I'm at a deficit. So say yes. Sorry, body, didn't realize I'd left you behind. So give into that impulse and then really pay attention to how it feels to oxygenate your blood like that. It's a bit of a rush. And that's what you do in step 3. You just experience. You re-educate yourself as to what it feels like to just be. And you can sit in that place in step 3 for as long as you like. That's the ultimate destination. That's what I call home. If you think of life as a baseball game, and we start at home, and then we take a shot at it, and maybe we get a hit and we run the bases, which is dangerous. You could get caught along the way. It's fraught with potential for failure. But then eventually you come home again and you can just be. So this place, this still, quiet place in step 3 is home. And if you're so inclined, stay in that space for as long as you like. Because once you're home, you're there. So if I'm using this process of scanning, and it takes me 2 minutes to get there, great. If it takes me 20 minutes to get there, great. But once you're there, enjoy it. If you've got a half an hour, take it. If you've got an hour, take it. And you won't always necessarily get there, that place of complete stillness and relaxation, but any movement towards that is a win, is a success. It's very important you understand that in this process, there's no standard to be met. There's only beginning. As I said earlier, if you start the process, you've won, because you've acknowledged in your mind and body that stillness, that letting go, that relaxation has value, as much value as any other activity you're participating in your life. You know, we value time on the internet. We value time watching television. We value time having a glass of whiskey. We value having a piece of chocolate cake. We value sex. We value all these things, and they do have value to a degree. They do kind of fulfill you in some way. So I'm trying to encourage you to see this as having value, to see doing nothing as having value. Because when you're doing nothing, you're just being. And if you can reach that place, where just sitting and listening to the beating of your heart is enough, it's a wonderful feeling. Because then you stop obsessing about all the things you need to do and accomplish for 5 minutes. And you feel like you're enough. And so you can relax. So let's try it again. Gently squeezing the hands together. This is the contraction that we spend most of our time exercising. And you're now going to build an awareness of what it feels like to let go of that contraction with a complete release of the hands on my count of 3, and letting that release pass through your body. 3, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. Exhale. And study what you're feeling. It's all you're doing now. Pay attention. Beginning with the beating of your heart. Focus on that. And some people will say, but I'm not doing anything. Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea. We do so much. And that includes worrying and thinking. Because we feel like that's a way to gain control of our life and to feel safe and secure. We do. We worry, we think. We eat, we drink, we work. And this is a way of teaching you that to have balance in your life, you also need to learn how to do nothing. Nothing. It all starts here. So if someone was to come into this session late and saw me just sitting here, it would make absolutely no sense to them. I came to this session on scanning and nothing's happening. That's it. This is a place, scanning is a place where nothing happens. You just are. I always say my ideal session, I'd say, welcome everyone, and then we would just all sit for half an hour. And again, it sounds illogical because we're constantly trying to prove ourselves. We're identifying by what we do, by the facade we've built for ourselves. No one ever takes the time to just say to someone when they say, well, what do you do? Well, I just am. And no one ever responds with, that's fantastic. But I say, yes, that's fantastic. If someone says to me, what do I do? Well, right now I'm not doing anything. I just am. I say, you've arrived. You've arrived. Because if we can learn how to do nothing and enjoy and experience who we are just being, then we've found ourselves and we can be at peace because we know that just being is enough. And then you go out in the world and you create a career and relationships and you do things. You use this as your base. That's life. We're not disappearing. We need to participate in life to survive and to enjoy our life. But you also need to know that there's another aspect to your life, and that's just being. And that's what scanning is. It's bringing you back to just being. Hey, I see Richard's here. Hey, Richard, I'm reading what you wrote. That's terrific. Fantastic. If this is working for anyone out there, I'm thrilled. I do this for myself because I need it. It's helped me, and I'm hoping it helps others as well. So when you tell me it does, I'm very pleased. Thank you. Let's try it again. Gently squeezing the hands together. On the count of 3, you're going to release. 3, 2, 1, release. Feel that release pass through your body. Deep breath. Exhale. Now study. What are you feeling? Pay attention to the beating of your heart. Watch for where in your body you've now begun to feel a throbbing sensation as the blood vessels and capillaries and veins open up and the blood flows more freely. That's an excellent sign. That means your muscles are letting go. Your body is functioning more openly and freely. You're letting go of contraction. You're expanding. It's healthier. It brings more oxygen to your body, your muscles, your organs. It lowers your blood pressure. And you'll notice that as this session progresses, I'll take longer and longer pauses in step 3. Because that's, as I said, that's the goal. The ultimate goal is to just be and experience yourself. I tend to overteach this technique, and I apologize for that. I do it for a couple reasons. 1, to reinforce the practice, and 2, just for people who may be coming in late. But the truth of the matter is, there shouldn't be much talking at all. So I'm going to do it again. Here we go. Gently clasping the hands together. This is symbolic of the contraction you have in every part of your body and mind. And on my count, you're going to completely release and let that sensation of release pass through your entire body. You'll then feel an impulse to take a deep breath. Take that breath. That's an excellent sign that you're relaxing. And as you exhale, transport even more tension out of your body and then sit and experience just being. Here we go. Clenching. 3, 2, 1, release. Pay attention to how that release has passed now into your legs, your neck, your face. Watch for the impulse to take a breath and take it. Now just sit. 15 seconds. Sometimes when I'm in step 3, I literally forget where I am. You'll notice that as you expand, as your consciousness expands and your muscles relax, you begin to drop a consciousness of time and location. You start to feel that those things just aren't as important. Time is a construct. Time is something that we as humans have developed to mark our progress. And as you begin to relax, it just doesn't matter what time it is. You let go of your constructs. So you may find yourself drifting into this state of being and suddenly finding that your mind is clear and you're not thinking about anything. You're not thinking about what time it is. That's why I tend to go long on these sessions. I always say they're going to be 20 to 30 minutes, but it ends up being 40 because I lose track of time. Now, you can't not pay attention to time in life. You need to know what time it is so that you can be where you need to be and do what you need to do and meet your responsibilities. But again, I'm trying to help you build a consciousness of an alternative. Yes, time is valuable. Yes, the activities we participate in are valuable. But being, just being, is equally valuable. And what I'm trying to do through scanning is remind myself and help you remember for yourself that this just being is as important, if not more important, than everything else you involve yourself in your life. And I'm recommending you take a few minutes a day to remind yourself that it all starts here. And that's important. Here we go again. Gently clasping the hands together. Again, this is a technique called scanning, the incremental release of muscular tension for the purpose of achieving a deep state of physical and mental calm. It can be done for a couple minutes a day. It can be done for an hour. What's most important is that you start the process, because that means you're acknowledging that you need to do this, that it's valid and important to take the time to do nothing but be. So here we go. Gently clasping the hands together. 3, 2, 1, release. And again, you're letting that sensation of release that starts in your hands pass through your entire body. You'll then feel an impulse to breathe. Take a deep breath. And when you exhale, you might think of it as a transport of tension out of the body. You'll take that deep breath, and in doing so, gather up whatever tension remains in your body, because eventually you're going to let go of all of it. And the exhale is a way to transport some of that tension out of your body. And then step 3, you're just going to sit and be and do nothing and pay particular attention to the sensations of your body, beginning with the beating of your heart, and by extension, a throbbing in your limbs and face and muscles as the blood flow opens up and your body begins to let go and release. So we're now going to sit and just pay attention to what you're feeling for 30 seconds. Don't do anything but pay attention to the beating of your heart and the changes you're experiencing. Here we go. Deep breath. I'm laughing at myself because what begins to happen to me as I get deeper and deeper into this relaxed state, as I said, you start to lose consciousness of all of your concerns, including teaching. I forget that I'm here to teach a technique and that perhaps people are waiting for some guidance, so I apologize. But that's where you want to be. You want to literally go to where you've let go of all of your concerns, all of your worries, all of your muscular tension, and you haven't abandoned ship. You have every intention of going back to all of your responsibilities and taking care of business. But you're reminding yourself through this process that what's also valuable is letting go of all of that for a few minutes a day, so that you can come back to just yourself and an awareness of who you are and how you feel and your home base. And in that place, you recuperate, you recharge, you replenish, you reassure yourself that you exist, and that's good. Let's do it again. Clasping the hands together, experience what it is to contract the musculature, and when I tell you, you're going to release this grip and experience a sense of release that will pass through your entire body. Then you will feel an impulse to take a deep breath. Take it, exhale, transporting even more tension out of your body, and then just sit in that feeling and pay attention to the beating of your heart, the throbbing in your limbs as the blood flow increases, and just feel what it feels like to be. So here we go. 3, gripping, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. Transport tension out. And now just observe. "30 seconds. The strange thing about this process for me, as I said, having done it for many years now and for many hours, is that I intellectually know how good it's going to feel once I've let go and I'm relaxed. It's still hard to start every time. And the metaphor I like to use, it's like a bridge with a very bumpy, dangerous road. You have to cross this bridge to get to this island of paradise. And you know when you get there, you're going to feel good, but you got to cross that road being the process of letting go. It always feels uncomfortable, scary. I become very impatient. But if I can cross that bridge and I can come to this place, it feels better than anything else I do in my life. Well, not everything, but it feels damn good. And I find that I've let go of my worries, my concerns, my thoughts, and I don't miss them. I'm fine not having them in my brain 24 hours a day. They're over there. I'm going to go back to them after I do this, but I'll go back refreshed and calm with a clearer mind. But I'm constantly retraining myself, constantly having to teach myself that that's a healthy thing to do, because my natural instinct is just to keep holding on, to keep attacking the challenges that I have, to keep trying to find things that will satisfy me or make me feel safe and secure. I grip, I contract. That's the go-to method. You're welcome, Janet. Thank you for visiting. That's the go-to method. If you're given a box of tools, you look at your box of tools and what are the options you have in your life to make you feel good and to make you feel successful? Yeah, well, you've got actively pursuing money or your career goals. Yes, all valid. Eating, having a drink, smoking a joint, sex. Yeah, can't leave that one out. There's a lot of things we do to make us feel good, so at the end of the day, we can go to bed and go, okay, I accomplished something. I'm going to be okay. What I'm suggesting is you add another tool to your toolbox, one that's kind of strange in a way, because it's completely opposite of these other tools. You don't actively do this thing, you almost deactivate. You go to zero. You go to nothing. You go to being. You release, you relax, you let go. The difference between those tools and this tool is those tools involve immediate response, a gripping and an immediate result, a satisfaction. This tool requires some patience and a letting go and an understanding that you won't feel the benefit right away and it won't logically accomplish anything, but it will benefit you immensely. So you have to just train yourself to know that it's good for you, so that even if it feels difficult to start, you know that it's going to feel good when you do it. And so you start to practice it on a regular basis. And then you start to find that this becomes a natural tool in your toolbox. And you feel this sense of calm carrying into everything else you do. So if I would, let's say, go on an interview and I approached it like this, well, now I have a reference that says, it's also an option, is I could go in calmly. And I might be even more successful because I know how good that feels. I know how good I feel about myself when I'm calm. I know it's tricky and hard to do, but I know it's good for me, so I'm going to start practicing it. And you might keep a journal of the time you spend scanning. I do, because it motivates me. I see how much I've done and I see the changes it's made in me, so it kind of encourages you to keep going. And also when you do it, you go, well, I'd like to add a half an hour to my log, my scanning log. So it motivates you to keep going. Or even 5 minutes, doesn't matter. Again, it's incremental release of muscular tension. Incremental. Any amount you do is beneficial. If I come up to you at a party and I say, hey, on the count of 3, I just want you to let go of 1% of your tension. 3, 2, 1, just release. We don't even think to do it. We need to be reminded sometimes, but you hopefully learn how to remind yourself. But that little bit, just that little bit, is so beneficial. You've given yourself a gift. You've not only relaxed yourself, but you reminded yourself that that's valid and important. And that's why I encourage you to practice it whenever you have occasion. Here we go. Let's do it again. Gently gripping the hands together. 3, 2, 1. Release. Let that release pass through your entire body. You'll feel an impulse to take a deep breath. Take it. On the exhale, transport even more tension out of your body. There it goes. And now sit and study the changes you feel in your body as a result of that release. 15 seconds. Deep breath. So I want you to take a moment now. It doesn't matter when. I'm checking the time here. Oh, you see I'm over a half an hour. So we're going to wrap it up in a second. I want you to take a moment just to assess, self-assess how you feel now as compared to when you started. And I'm not looking for you to tell me or anything. This is just for your own sense, your own consciousness. It's important that you recognize that you've progressed. So if you started at a level 10 in tension, if you move to 6, that's great. If you move to 9.8, that's great. If you've moved the dial, you've won. And you'll see me say this every session. This is life. All you want to do is either slow down that contraction, that tension, hopefully stop it, and ideally reverse it until you come to nothing, to just being. The point being, any slowing of this wheel is beneficial. What's important is that you make some progress in the opposite direction so you can learn to just be. So we're going to do this a couple more times, but before I do so, I want to remind you that I save these sessions and I repost them on Facebook for the rest of the day usually. And before I delete it, I will send all these sessions over to the Facebook Sqanning page. On Facebook, you can find all of these sessions at Sqanning, and you can also find them on a YouTube channel I've begun. Same, Sqanning, and so you can watch these sessions anytime. Oh, Leslie just joined, and we're about to wrap it up, Leslie. But again, you can see this session on Facebook will be rebroadcast, and you can find it on my Facebook Sqanning page, Sqanning, or on YouTube. I will just keep reposting these so you can watch them anytime if it helps you. Okay, so that's it for today. Let's do it 2 more times. Sqanning, again, is the incremental release of muscular tension for the purpose of achieving a deep physical and mental state of calm. Incremental because it's just an easy approach. It's so much easier to relax incrementally than it is to instantly relax. Our body is a stubborn little child that needs to be gently coaxed, but it also knows what's good for it. So when it begins to feel the benefits of this process, it will take over at some point. And when you get to step 3, which is just sitting in stillness, you may find yourself just wanting to sit there because the body knows now. The body knows it's a good place to be, and it's just going to want to hang there because it feels better than anything else. So here we go. 2 more times. Clasping the hands together, that's experiencing what it's like to contract the muscles, to contract the brain, to wrap it up in thoughts and worries. That's what's going on in the hands. On the count of 3, you're going to completely relax and feel that sense of release pass through your body. 3, 2, 1, release. Feel it pass all the way down into your toes, to the top of your head. It's like you've pulled back a bow with an arrow and you've let it go, and now it's reverberating through your entire body. You'll feel an impulse to breathe. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, gather up and transport even more tension out of your body. And then sit in stillness for 15 seconds, paying very close attention to the beating of your heart and whatever sensations you feel now as a result of that release, including a throbbing in your limbs as the blood vessels open up throughout your body. 15 seconds. Deep breath. Again, when you get to a place where you feel like, I'm not doing anything, you're there. That's it. Last time. Clasping the hands together. Feel what it's like to contract. And we're building awareness here. We're building an awareness of the distinction between contraction and expansion. 3, 2, 1, release. And then just sit 30 seconds for the last time. Pay attention to the beating of your heart. And that's it. And stay there as long as you like. You'll find it's a very wonderful place to be. You're going to want to revisit it. As I said, it may be a bumpy road to get there, but now you're building an awareness that it's worth the trip, and you're going to want to do it more frequently, and you will find that it will change your life. It will change your day because you'll begin to carry that as much a part of you as everything else in your being. You have a place in you that you go to where you feel calm, relaxed, secure, safe, confident, at peace. That said, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll be back again probably later this afternoon around 4. And maybe sometimes I do another session at 8. Visit the Sqanning pages on Facebook for past sessions and also on YouTube. And much love to you all. Be well and take care. Bye-bye.